Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Hannah and I like to lift heavy things. Now, for those of you who know me, know that I love a jerk. I love doing them. I love watching them. I just love everything about a jerk, basically. And if I were gonna give myself credit for anything, I would give myself credit for the fact that the jerk is the one thing that I know that I've got down pretty much every single time. Not to toot my own horn, obviously. So today I thought that I would share with you guys the 6 most common jerk mistakes that I see happening in the gym pretty much every single day and exactly how to fix them. Now, I'd just like to pretense this video with the fact that I have tried to execute all of the mistakes that I see, but it's really difficult to notice specifically the mistakes because to the untrained eye, they all look like different variations of a jerk executed slightly differently. But a jerk can look very different in very different ways. Like everybody's jerk looks very different in very different ways, but the elements that make up that jerk, or the elements that I've picked up on in this specific video, those are the things that will end up limiting your progress, or those are the things that will stagnate your progress with jerking more. So basically, jerking in these ways will only take you so far, and yes, they may look okay, and yes, you may be able to do them, but they will only take you so far, and soon you will just end up having to fix these small issues that will culminate to be bigger issues in the future. So without further ado, let's get into the first of these 6 common jerk mistakes. So it feels only right as we're doing a jerk to start at the very beginning, which is the dip. And for me, it's all about the dip. Now, I feel like I see this all the time. People take the tiniest, most rushed dip that you have ever seen and then just expect the bar to fly off their shoulders. So firstly, it is just that tiniest rushed dip. People will be in such a rush to get the jerk over with that they'll rush the dip, make it really short and like jolty, and it just won't work. Now, this is a super easy one to fix in my opinion. All you need to do is learn the position that you have to jerk in. The best way that I've found that helps do that is to implement a pause jerk, where you just pause at the bottom of the dip and then drive back up. The thing you want to avoid when doing that is avoiding doing like a weird double dip. You want to pause in the dip and then go straight from that pause, driving upwards. Don't dip back down into it, because that will just create more bad habits that will probably affect you a little bit later down the line. So yeah, tiniest dip. No. We want to iron that out, do a pause dip, nice and controlled. Take your time to breathe into it. Feel like the stiffness build in your body, and then do a really nice drive up. Number 2. Now, I find that this is something that people often have as well. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a mobility issue or just like a range issue, but it's the elbows, right? I see elbows too high, I see elbows too low, I see elbows drop. What we're looking for is a consistent elbow position through the whole of a jerk. So through the dip, you want to keep a consistent elbow position all the way up until you start pushing through up against that bar to then jerk it. We want to try and find that optimal elbow position, because if the elbows are too high, you'll end up leaning back into your jerk and then the bar just won't go where you need it to. If the elbows are too low, you'll end up dipping forwards and driving forwards, and then the bar will be really far in front of you. So what you want to do is you want to practice that front rack position. You can practice that with jerk dips, or you can practice that with just front squats and trying to hold that position as strong and comfortable as you possibly can, and that should help out-train like any sort of bad elbow position. If it is a mobility issue, I will put some stretches that you can do in the link down below, so just follow that. Just some chest stretches, some tricep stretches, and some lat stretches, which will help get into that front rack position nice and comfortably. Number 3. Now, number 3 is a bit of a pet hate of mine. I just think that it's so lazy, and to me it looks so lazy. I feel like people often put a lot of emphasis on the clean, which I appreciate because you need to do the clean before you can do the jerk, but we can't forget about the jerk. So number 3 is going mellow, it's going soft, it's just being lazy in the jerk. Now, don't get me wrong, I do completely understand a clean is so tiring and so taxing that when you get to the top, you kind of wish it were done, but it's not. So the same amount of effort needs to go into the clean as it does into the jerk. We don't want to see any marshmallow bodies. We don't want to see any soft, lax bodies. What I see happening here is people often try to relax too much and they just lose stiffness in their whole body. For me, a jerk is all about carrying stiffness and carrying tightness in your body without seizing up and being stiff. You want to just be strong, you want to be braced, and you want to learn to hold those positions throughout the whole movement in order to execute the perfect jerk. No marshmallows. Stiff, controlled, and it'll be a great jerk. So in order to get that perfect rigid dip and that perfect rigid drive and rigid catch, I suggest doing some tall jerks, as I find that that really helps drill the tall, stiff position that you need to get in order to catch the bar, and also is great for receive position drills. A power jerk is also really good for this because there is less leeway for error, as if you go a bit soft in the power jerk, it's just gonna tumble around you. And finally, a push press is a really great way, because with push press you really do need to, it's a lot more muscular. You really do need to like push through the bar, remain tight and remain strong throughout the whole movement in order to execute the perfect push press. So number 4, a jerk is not a lunge. A jerk doesn't look anything like a lunge. A jerk shouldn't be executed anything like a lunge. A jerk is a completely separate exercise to a lunge. So I don't want to see any bend in the knee. I don't want to see any give in the catch. I want a strong, solid, split stance where we don't go soft at the knees. We stand strong, we push our feet apart, and there's no lunge. It's just a jerk. What I'm talking about here is basically when you jerk, there should be no give in your legs. Once your feet land, you want to push against the floor to avoid doing any kind of lunge movement. The minute you do that is the minute it opens you up to all kinds of problems and all kinds of misses, and we don't want that. As soon as that bar is at arm's length, and as soon as you feel like you've received that bar and your feet are flat, planted, pushing the floor away, the job's done. There's no need to add more work. There's no need to do any kind of like, any lunge type movement. Just stick your feet down, push the floor apart, recover it well, and job's done. For me, a great way to train this is doing a pause jerk, but a pause in the catch, and making sure that as soon as your feet split and the bar is at arm's length, that you are no longer moving, and you hold that for 2 to 3 seconds, and that will help out train that and sort of stop you from doing that. I think that what happens is that people tend to think that that happens when it gets heavier, but really what should be happening when you get heavier is that you get a longer split, or you just drive more. There shouldn't be any give in the knee, because the minute there's a give in the knee, who really lunges their 1RM clean and jerk? Not many people. So let's avoid that. Number 5 is a jumping jerk. People love to fling their legs up in the air and stand in the air for a really long time. Now, for me, it's so important that once you have driven that bar, your feet need to be moving now, because that bar is going to come back down on you before you even know it. There is no time, or there should be no time, for your feet to be flailing up in the air all around whoopsie daisy. Once you drive that bar, think about pushing your feet towards the floor and out towards, like reaching out in front of you and reaching back behind you. We don't want to create like a jump lunge, because that's really not optimal, and when it gets heavier it just won't work, because you'll find the bar coming back down on you way faster than you can push up against it, and you'll miss the weight. No jumping lunges. Just no lunges, people. Number 6 is my all-time favorite, because this mistake is so easy to fix once you get it right. If all the other parts of your jerk, if all the other elements of your jerk are executed well, or executed well enough, getting your head through is the easiest part. It's just simply following your head through after you've pushed the jerk up, and it will save you so much trouble and so much time. It's simply just about drilling it and trying to remember to do that and not be scared of putting your head through, because it just won't do you any favors. Now, I will be the first to admit that when a jerk gets heavier, I do tend to leave my head behind, because I am a bit scared. But I just have to remember to drill that and push my head through. Otherwise it opens me up to leaving the jerk out in front. So here I am, just trying to be your reminder that if you're gonna do anything, do it with conviction. Slam your head through, push your head through on that jerk, and it will be so nice, and it will feel so good, and it will feel like it's landing in the perfect position where you're gonna optimally be able to recover and just execute a really lovely jerk. Now, my favorite exercise to practice this is actually one that I don't do all that often: push jerks. So push jerks is kind of like a power jerk, but you don't move your feet, and it really is about the receive position. So it's really emphasizing that head through, arms locked. It's just a great exercise to practice getting your head through and to make sure that you're drilling those correct positions. So those are my 6 most common jerk mistakes and exactly how to fix them. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel. If you find that you are doing any of these things, do let me know in the comments below. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to respond. And happy jerking, obviously. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.